Thanks for tuning into the Promethean podcast. Your University of Wisconsin Superior newspaper is now 106 years old. Today, we will be reviewing the highlights of the May edition of the Promethean. I'm your co-host, Georgia Youngblood.
I'm Abby Hoffman.
And I'm Emily Tews.
Before we get started, we want to welcome our special guest for this edition, Ella Day. Ella is a senior here and a member of many clubs across campus, which we will get into. She is the web editor of the Promethean. Ella is also a recipient of the 2026 Chancellor's Leadership Award and has also been named the Student Employee of the Year. Thanks for joining us today, Ella.
Hi.
So first off, what led you to UWS?
I started at Lake Superior College, and I got my AA in a self-designed sexual health and wellness associate's degree. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I almost went to Montana State for archaeology and paleontology, but I decided that I wanted to stay a little bit closer to home, and I met Haji, who very much changed my life, and I decided to come to UWS for the Public Leadership and Change-Making degree. I started with a minor in political science and a self-designed minor in sex education, but then I ended up dropping both those.
What are you doing now, then?
Oh, right now, in this moment?
In this very moment.
In this very moment. Well, right now, I am the web editor for the Promethean. I run our website. I help with social media, YouTube, the podcast, and pretty much anything that's online, I have my fingers in some flavor. That sounds really weird. I also work in the admissions office as a campus ambassador. I'm the president of Amnesty International, the secretary for UW Changemakers. I am also on the board of officers for UWS Alliance. I am forgetting something. Oh, goodness.
Basically, if there's something to be done around campus
there.
related to the social inquiry department, Ella Day is going to be there, and she's going to be running the show.
I also help with the refugee project on campus that a professor of ours, Haji, does.
That's awesome. Cool. Busy schedule, then.
It's pretty fine. I mean, I'm not that busy.
So how have being a part of these clubs influenced your life and shaped you into who you are today?
Yeah, so I've always been very much of a social action type of person. I went to a local small arts a small arts high school that was very politically active. So I started doing a lot of stuff there, and I was sort of just naturally drawn to a lot of those types of social movement things, social justice, human rights. So I sort of just naturally was drawn to those clubs therein too. Amnesty is my baby. I love Amnesty with all my heart. I've done a lot with Amnesty in my 2 years as president, as well as Changemakers. I love Changemakers as well. So I am the type of person where people assume I like to be in leadership positions because I'm a public leadership major. But in reality, I very much like being the behind the scenes, just pushing people to go farther. But I'm the type of person where if I see a need, I fill it. So with the Promethean, we didn't have an editorial staff before September, and Tom asked me, I was like, hey, would you be willing to help? And I was like, of course. I can't do editor-in-chief though because I'm already the president of another club, and student involvement doesn't let you double dip presidencies. Okay. So he put me in as the co-position, or the one just below, and that's something that I've just naturally done, where people are like, hey, we need a secretary, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll help you with your budget and all that kind of fun stuff. So I think that's the only reason on paper I have a lot of activities, is because people are like, hey, we need help with this, and it's like, okay, cool. I know things, I guess.
You know so many things. Speaking about Amnesty International being your baby, you've done a lot of cool things with Amnesty, and I know this because we're involved in Amnesty together. Do you want to speak about some of those experiences a little bit more?
Yes. So I have been to Chicago with Amnesty once. I went to DC with Amnesty once. I also recently joined the Midwest Collegiate Board. So it's a bunch of college students across the Midwest who sort of talk about how do you campaign for human rights, especially in rural communities and areas. So Haji put me on that. I've also done a lot with the Refugee Project. We've been to Madison, Duluth, UMD, College St. Scholastica, and we also help do the Refugee Honor Walk in the summer. That's our only summer event. We do help with 15 days of action against gender-based violence, International Human Rights Day. We also get training and special like connections with people in the larger Amnesty. So we helped with some of like the local like student promotion for the Murdered and Missing Indigenous Peoples protest happening today, because it's May 5th. Happening today, so we helped get a lot of that promotion on the ground for like campus, and helping. The big thing that I like to do for Amnesty is teaching people, how do you talk about human rights and social justice and things that make you angry in a safe way that isn't attackatory. Because in reality, one of my first events I attended on UWS was a Amnesty tabling that was come to us and ask us questions. It is a no judgment zone. It can be any question you want. And it was Haji Joel, the president at the time, and a few students, and it's like, come ask us a question. If there's a human rights issue, if there's something happening in the world that you don't know and the internet's making it like seem really, really crazy, just come talk to us. And that was like making political issues accessible. It's not scary. Like, yeah, political issues are really, really scary and they can be really intimidating, but in reality, we give our political officials a voice. And we can also control their voice because we pay their bills. We nominate them to their jobs. We pretty much run where we live, and reminding that like we do have power, even if it feels like we don't, is something really important to me specifically.
I think that's a really great message.
That was. So what do you plan to do after you graduate in a couple of weeks?
Oh, goodness. I'm going to be doing the online master's degree program for School of Oriental and African Studies out of School of London for an investigative human rights journalism degree.
That's awesome. Are you excited?
I'm pretty excited, yeah.
What does a career in human rights journalism look like for a lot of people?
It depends on what you want to do. There's a lot of different avenues that you can go with human rights journalism. The most popular one that people think of is on-the-ground wartime journalists. So, you can either work for a international company or like the United Nations, NATO, anything like that. As journalists, though, a lot of these have to be like nonpartisan. So whatever you find and report on is what it has to be like a promise that the organization will take it. So there's a lot of different avenues. The first one that, again, a lot of people think of is like wartime journalism. So on the ground, people who are photographing, interviewing, and like hands on the scenes, and like the blue vests, blue helmets, all that kind of stuff. There's also a few other ones where it's just doing a lot of cultural journalism. So I know like Amnesty International has a cultural journalism department where they do cultural investigative, and they do a lot of the investigative journalism around like Alligator Alcatraz, murder missing Indigenous people in Canada, and all that kind of stuff. So that's another sort of sector of it, is doing more of that on the ground investigative piece, not on the field. It's either that, or a lot of investigative journalists do a lot of human rights journalists do a lot of like political content. So if you see like the live streams of the United Nations, those are usually human rights journalists who are like running the live streams, writing the reports, press releases, all that kind of fun stuff. Something that I'm also interested in is doing a nonprofit human rights journalism. So that's where one group of like conglomerate of nonprofits will hire one sort of communication expert, and they'll run all their press releases, help with their social media, help them get their message sort of out there. So that's another kind of avenue.
Cool. And you mentioned that you are a campus ambassador. What does that look like?
We give tours on campus. The way that the director of admissions likes to say is we're the first face they see. So we have to be the nicest and most happiest face they see. Another thing that's also pretty common is that we also run SOAR, or summer orientation, and the same thing sort of applies, where a lot of times we run self-designed tours. So if you're interested in natural sciences, you want to see Barstow, we're going to take you into Barstow. If you are interested in health and human performance and you want to walk down the faculty hallway and see if there's a faculty officer willing to talk to you, we'll go down that hallway to make sure that you can see what you want to see on campus, or visit the offices that you want to see. The people I give tours to, I still see on campus. They used to say hi to me in the hallways. Now it's too far into the semester. They have their own friends. So they don't do that, which I'm okay with. But I also know that a lot of times it's like a guiding point where it's like, oh, you have your weekend of welcome orientation person, and you have your SOAR person and your tour guide. And they're sort of the people that the campus tells you to talk to if you're lost, you need help, confused, your RAs. And it's just sort of nice. I like talking to them. They're pretty fun. Even if they don't end up coming here, it's still nice to give them a good experience of UWS so that even if they don't choose us in the end, they still go, yeah, that's a good campus.
So Ella, as one of the most, I do say this, we're all very good friends with you. You are one of the most decorated people that I know, and you are one of the most deserving people I know. Do you want to speak about, no, you deserve these things.
There's probably better options out there.
No, there's not. Do you want to speak about the awards that you've received, especially upcoming to graduation, being Student Employee of the Year, being one of the 4 recipients of the Chancellor's Leadership Award? These are super big deals, and you are so incredibly deserving of them.
So with Student Employee of the Year is actually a poll. So
What?
It's a poll, so it's not actually like a normal nomination process.
Okay,
So
yeah,
in
they vote.
in Old Main, they had like Student Employee Appreciation Week, and you could write your name on you could write a name on a crayon, and they stick it on the wall, and whoever got the most crayons won Student Employee of the Year. And a bunch of my friends who work in the SSE department thought it'd be really funny to write my name, like a lot.
I remember seeing photos on this wall, actually.
So that one, like, it's pretty cool, but it was probably a little bit biased because I didn't do anything for it, really, other than, like, running around on campus a lot, so people sort of, like, know who I am. So, like, oh, who works on campus? Ella works on campus. We're going to write down her name. But otherwise, with, like, Chancellor's Leadership, that one came as a massive surprise. I didn't expect to get Chancellor's Leadership Award. There's another PLC major. Her name is Kadest. She's the president of SGA. I assumed she would get it over me. That was like a running joke where I'm like, yeah, Kadest is going to be super decorated, and we're just going to like stand next to each other in a little PLC photo at graduation. I'm going to be bare, and she's going to be full of like things. Things switched a little bit. She didn't get Chancellor's Leadership, but she's commencement speaker now, so I guess it's like a little bit different. But I was so shocked when I got that email. Like, I remember running out and calling my mom and being like, Mom, guess what? And she's like, what is that? And I'm like, oh. It's a award they only give to 4 people. And she's like, what? But yeah, it was really, really cool. They also sent in my letters as well. So Tom Hansen and my advisor, Haji, both nominated me. Oh. Haji turned in his letter late, though, so I didn't get it until a few days ago. So they judged it only based on Tom's letter, and it was super funny because I love Tom. But he only wrote, he's like, I only know what happened from September. Haji can fill in the gaps. It's like, he kept saying that over and over again in like my letter of recommendation, and it just made me laugh so hard. Because I've only been in the Promethean since September. So.
Same.
But yeah, all of us have.
Well, same for all of us.
But yeah, I that one just came as a really, really big shock. And I know that like my whole family's super excited. I was posted on the like alumni page for the youth group I used to be a part of. So they were like posted about it. Jacob, my husband, printed my picture, and now it's hanging on his like on the other side of his badge for work of my headshot from Chancellor's Leadership Award. So yeah, it's a little surreal still. I don't think it'll fully hit me until I have like the certificate in my hand on Thursday when they like hand it all out, where I'm gonna be like, oh wow, like this is real. Still a little surreal, even though people come up to me like, congrats, and I'm like, what are you congratulating me on? I get a little like confused.
I know when it was announced, my mom texted me a photo of you and said, is this your friend Ella? And I got to be like, yeah, she's really cool, isn't she, Mom?
No, I was so embarrassed because my bio's a paragraph longer than everybody else's. And I was like, I should have cut some stuff out because they just asked for like a list of everything we did in like college and like bullet points. So I just sent them like everything, and I was like, I should have cut some stuff out. I told that to Haley. She's a friend of mine who works in admissions, and I was like, you should have added all your things. And she was like, well, I don't know, I didn't. And I was like, well, you should have, because now I like cocky.
I think anyone who knows you knows that you're not, though.
I don't know.
She's being modest.
Because here's the thing, I remember seeing you write that and going, oh, I should just cut all of these things out. Like, they don't even matter anymore. And I think I told you to just, no, you ran out of characters in the box to continue writing things, so you had to cut a couple things out.
was so funny.
That was for the commencement speaker nomination form. That wasn't for chancellor's leadership.
But you did I remember you running out of characters in a box to write your.
Yeah. That was a little eye-opening too, I guess.
So do you have any, to conclude here, do you have any best memories, biggest takeaways, and any thank yous you'd like to give to your time here at EWS?
Well, my biggest takeaway is sort of say yes to everything. Even unless it's dangerous. Don't do something dangerous. That's stupid.
Good.
Sort of say yes to everything. You never know what's going to happen. A lot of this stuff just happened because I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Or like, yeah, I'm free that day. Even if it's a little bit scary or like you don't know anybody, you'll be surprised on how everybody is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Everybody feels like they don't have enough friends. Everybody feels like, oh, wow, I don't know what I'm doing here, and has like massive imposter syndrome. So if you're just like the one who sort of expresses it, everybody's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Someone said it.
Yeah.
Because I sure feel it. And it's a good way to sort of like make friends, is just being like, taking the leap and being like, you know what? Yeah, I'll go to that track meet. What do people watch at track meets? Don't know. Never been to one. But you know what? I'll go to cheer on my friend. Or, you know what? I've never done this type of like Kahoot type of thing. And you know what? I'll go, because people will naturally just start yapping with you. What was else? I forgot. I'll be
I'll just
totally
ask,
for real.
like, I mean, your favorite memories. You kind of already talked about everything you've done, and just anyone you wanted to thank.
Yeah, I think the biggest one for me is thinking like my family. My family's really like the root of everything. I wouldn't be able to graduate if it wasn't for my dad's GI Bill, so pop off the military, I guess. And thanks to Dad for giving me his GI Bill versus using it for himself, because he knew I really wanted to go to school. And thanks for my mom. My mom has been in school, but she was a non-traditional student, and the amount of times I've ranted to her because I'm like, I'm going to drop out, I can't do this, and she's like, shut up, yes you can, is probably way too many. And then a huge thank you to like Haji and Tom. Haji's my direct advisor. I've known him all 3 years I've been at EWS. Tom I most recently knew. And it's crazy how having a team of advisors who believe in you more than you believe in yourself can really change your perspective on what you can do. And I think that's just what makes UWS so cool, is that you get that opportunity to have like an advisor be like, actually, I think you should do this, or I do think you are capable of doing this, and sort of remind you that like everything you are doing is impacting your career and your future, because sometimes when you're in college you sort of forget that. And again, a huge thanks to like especially Haji. I wouldn't have gone to UWS if I hadn't met him, and he remembers every single student, every single one of his classes. Once he sees your face, he's not good with voices, and he just loves what he does, and he loves what he teaches, and you can sort of see that in everything he sort of does. And the amount of times he's like sent me an email and it just says, you should do this piece, Haji, sort of just reassuring that like, you know what, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
And UWS is going to miss him when him and Joel retire. And Ephraim, I love Ephraim.
I love Ephraim too.
I've never had a class with Ephraim, but I have laid on his floor of his office.
This is a special pastime of Ella's, actually, just laying on the floor in random places.
That is actually true. There's the communication and social inquiry like infinity gauntlet, I guess, and I think I've laid on almost every single one of their floors, minus Chad. I need Chad's floor. I got Allison's floor. I laid on Brent's floor. I laid on Ephraim's floor. I laid on Tom's floor. There's not a lot of room.
Well, you laid on the floor in the media lab. So
I did lay on the floor in the media
like that
lab.
counts for Brent.
Well, I also laid on the floor of his office. So
in the equipment closet.
Yeah, in the equipment closet. I've laid on a lot of floors on campus, because sometimes you just need floor time. And surprisingly, advisors and professors are pretty chill about it. It might just be because it's me, so they're just sort of used to it by now.
You've earned the right.
I've earned the right to lay on floors.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much, Ella, for being our May edition podcast guest.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
For those of you just tuning in, this is the May edition of the Promethean podcast. I'm your co-host, Georgia Youngblood.
I'm Abby Hoffman.
And I'm Emily Tews. On April 2nd, UWS hosted Coffee and Consent in Swenson Hall as part of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. The event gave students a relaxed space to connect, ask questions, and learn about consent and campus safety resources. Title IX coordinator Brittany Hansen spoke with students about support options, including confidential help, counseling, and community resources like CASDA. Campus leaders said that the goal is to build a safer, more supportive environment where students feel comfortable seeking help and looking out for one another. The Get to Nanog Zigwan Powwow returned to Superior on May 2nd as UW Superior and the Superior School District brought the community together at Superior Middle School to celebrate the arrival of spring. The event featured music, dance, stories, and local vendors, highlighting Anishinaabe cultures across generations. Organizers said that the powwow was inspired by strong community support and took months of collaboration to plan. For many, the most meaningful part was seeing people of all ages come together, and especially youth stepping into the circle and showing that the culture remains strong and continues to grow.
Earth Week ran from April 18th through the 24th, and UWS had events focused on sustainability and protecting the environment. Students joined a campus cleanup, plant potting, and educational activities about topics like waste and pollution. The week also highlighted campus efforts like bio whales and a green roof. Organizers emphasized that small everyday actions can add up and make a big difference. Empower Superior Nutrition is a local drink shop in Superior that offers teas, protein drinks, and other healthy fast food options. Owner Alexandra Boucher says the business started because there weren't that many quick, healthy choices in the area. After almost 8 years, she said the shop has built a strong community feel by remembering their customers and creating a welcoming space for everyone. The shop also does fun monthly themes to keep things fresh and bring people in.
UW Superior solar panels are finally up and running as of April 21st after about 2 years of work. The project was initially delayed mostly because of its small compared to other solar projects, so getting parts took longer. Now that it's finished, it should help power parts of campus and save money on energy bills. The school also plans to show students and community how much energy it produces and use it for learning and sustainability projects.
For those of you just tuning in, this is the May edition of the Promethean podcast. I'm your co-host, Georgia Youngblood.
I'm Abby Hoffman.
And I'm Emily Tews.
The World Student Association hosted its 26th annual Cultural Night in the Yellow Jacket Union, celebrating the different cultures represented at UWS. The event featured food from 8 cultures, student celebrations, a fashion and flag show, and a drum and dance performance. International students shared music and traditions from their home countries and created a space to showcase and celebrate cultural identity. Organizers and students said the night helps build connections and pride across campus.
Mayal Roufri is a junior at UWS and an international student from France. She is gaining recognition for her research on how discussions around women's sports shape perceptions of minorities in France. After earning a summer fellowship, she spent months researching topics like media representation, discrimination, and national identity, and eventually presented her work both on campus and at conferences in Madison and Virginia. Her research also earned her a statewide award, something she said helps validate the impact of her work. She hopes to continue researching and encourages others to learn more about different communities, pointing out that understanding and change often start with simply being informed.
National Library Week was April 19th through the 25th and brought attention to campus resources at the Jim Dan Hill Library. They had events inviting students to explore services and grab some free swag. The JDH staff said the week is all about celebrating what libraries have to offer. Not just books, but a space for students to connect, study, and learn. The librarians also highlighted their role in helping students find reliable information beyond an online search. Looking ahead to the coming months, the library is planning more events like summer movie series, a walking book club, and possible hobby swaps to keep students engaged year-round.
On April 20th, UWS senior Susie Drake performed her recital at Webb Recital Hall, sharing a mix of songs in different languages that showed off her range and love for music. As a choral music education major, she says singing is a powerful way to express emotion. One of her pieces, Lai Der Menong, was the most meaningful to her and dedicated to her former teacher, Alice Pierce, who sadly passed away this last year. Following graduation, Drake plans to start student teaching in Wisconsin and hopes to become a public school music teacher.
UWS will host its 23rd annual Film and Video Showcase on May 15th at 7 p.m. in Manion Theater, featuring student-made films from across campus. The event highlights the hard work students put into their projects, with films selected by Brett Notboom, who looks for strong storytelling and capstone work. One featured film, The Files, by Mason Weiberg, who was also on staff at the Promethean, follows a student uncovering a strange government experiment. Organizer Notboom says the best part is watching students see their work through the audience's reaction and share their final projects with the community.
The Promethean's advice column, Dear Dad and College Cousin, continues as BJ Bethard, Dad, and your college cousin, me, Emily Tews, answer your questions. This month's question was, what makes someone friendly? If you have any questions for the two of us, feel free to share them through the Promethean social medias, either at UWS Promethean or by emailing us at promethean@uwsuper.edu.
For those of you just tuning in, this is the May edition of the Promethean podcast. I'm your co-host, Georgia Youngblood.
I'm Abby Hoffman.
And I'm Emily Tews.
Switching over to athletics, UWS made history on April 25th by hosting its first outdoor track and field meet at Superior Choice Credit Union Stadium. The Dan Conway Classic brought in several teams from around the area, and UWS had a strong day with multiple wins. Both 4x100 relay teams took first place, and freshman Kyle Peterson broke his own school record in the 110-meter hurdles. The meet marks a new chapter for Yellow Jacket track and field, with more events set to happen soon. In other big events, USA women's soccer legend Carly Lloyd visited UW Superior on April 8th as a speaker for the Women in Leadership event, which brings inspiration and energy to students, athletes, and the community. During a Q&A session, she shared insights on her career, leadership, and perseverance, followed by a meet and greet. Attendees, including student athletes and alumni, said the event was motivating, especially for younger athletes who got to see and learn from the role model up close. It also reinforced UWS's strong support for women in sports and leadership. Speaking of women in leadership, sophomore Peyton Bennett has become a key player for the softball team after earning UMAC Rookie of the Year honors in 2025. Originally from Harrisburg, South Dakota, she started playing softball in second grade and later competed in a top club program before being recruited to UWS. After a strong freshman year, Bennett says this season she's focused on having fun and playing with more confidence, especially on defense where she feels she's much more comfortable. She finished this year's regular season with a .426 hitting percentage and a .977 in the field. UWS and UMD teamed up on April 25th to host the Unified Basketball Tournament at Mertz Mortarelli Gymnasium, bringing together teams from across the Twin Ports after an 8-week season. The Unified program is connected to Special Olympics and pairs community athletes with student coaches. Many are UWS students in a multicultural education course. Organizers say the partnership has gone beyond expectations and highlighted leadership, inclusion, and the community. Once someone has left UWS, it's hard to not come back. Dan Laughlin is returning to UW Superior as the men's club hockey coach after previously coaching the women's team for 21 years before retiring in 2024. He says coming back feels like starting a new chapter, but he brings a lot of experience and knowledge from his long coaching career. Laughlin's goals include building a strong foundation for the program, helping players feel comfortable, and eventually moving the team into a conference like the WCCHA. He says he's excited to be back at UWS and continues building something meaningful for the hockey program. For upcoming schedule in athletics, the women's tennis team will travel to Gustavus Adolphus to take on UW Lacrosse in round 1 of the NCAA tournament on Friday, May 8th. Baseball tied for first for the UMAC regular season title this past weekend for the first time in program history. They will travel to Bethany Lutheran to take on Northwestern in their first game of the UMAC tournament on Thursday, May 7th. Softball will travel to Northwestern to take on Bethany Lutheran in their first game of the UMAC tournament, also beginning on Thursday. That's all we have for sports. For those of you just tuning in, this has been the May edition of the Promethean podcast. I'm your co-host, Abby Hoffman.
I'm Georgia Youngblood.
And I'm Emily Tews.
Speaking of the last edition of the podcast, Abby and I are both graduating seniors in about 2 weeks. So
that was a sniffle. In case that was clear.
We just wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about our experience at UWS and how we came here.
Okay, I'll go first. This is Abby speaking, in case you also didn't know that. It's taken me 7 years to finish my degree. I graduated in 2019 from Duluth East. COVID hit in 2020 when I was a freshman. I got booted out of the dorms, took some time off. I tried taking some online classes, and I just kind of did the classic drop out of school for a year and a half. I came back in 2023 and switched my major from business to communication. I originally actually started with a journalism degree when I first came, but I had someone in my family tell me that was a really bad idea for some reason. Anyway, so then this last year, I took a class with Tom Hansen, actually, news writing and reporting, last spring of 2025, and he kept telling me about how I should join the Promethean because I'd always wanted to be a journalist and be on the news and stuff like that. So I walked in this fall, and it was huge. It was a packed room. There was like 18 people, and I was so nervous because I thought that everyone was all besties and they already knew what they were doing, and I'm just like, I'm such a freak. What am I doing here? But yeah, I started off as being assistant sports editor. Then I got bumped up to co-sports editor. Then I just became sports editor, and then I got introduced to more opportunities, rink side reporting, court side reporting, and one game I've done field side reporting for Yellow Jacket Athletics. Shout out John Garver, Matt Johnson, Holden Law, Ryan Castaneda, and Evan Ludwig, and every other coach and athlete who has been talking to me this year. It's truly been a life-changing year, and I'm so glad that I decided to join the paper and meet everybody because I feel like I'm ready for the professional world, and I've really come out of my shell, and I'm comfortable with talking to strangers, and I don't know, it's helped me grow up a little bit. So I'm sad to leave, but I'm excited to take everything I've learned into the real world.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm on the softball team here, so I came in 2022, kind of just right out of high school. Been playing softball all 4 years at UWS. I came in originally as a double major with business and communications, but decided to switch that. I really liked the communications route. Did my first year here, and then my second year I took more communications classes, and that, led me to an internship with the United States Senate with Michigan Senator Debbie Stabenow. So I got to be a press intern in D.C. that summer, and that was a lot of fun. And from there, I kind of thought, well, maybe I wanted to go into news. I liked what I did as a press intern. So I did an internship at Northern News Now in the fall. Realized it wasn't really my thing. It was a good experience. I'm glad I did it, but it definitely propelled me to look for other options. So last summer, I got accepted into the Public Policy and International Affairs program at the University of Michigan, and that was like a 6-week course, basically doing like grad school classes. I really enjoyed that, really liked that. So I applied for grad school to get my master's in public policy at a few different programs, but ultimately decided to go to the University of Michigan. So I'm very excited about starting that in the fall, being closer to home. I'm originally from Ray, Michigan, which is about an hour north of Detroit. So pretty excited for the next steps, but it's definitely been a good experience at UWS. I am glad I came here, met a lot of good friends, and then last fall I decided to join the Promethean just for credit, and ended up with a bunch of friends, so I'm very happy I did that.
Everyone here, every staff, every advisor, every professor has just been the sweetest and welcoming. It really does feel like such a great community on campus.
With this being the last edition for one last time, if you want to see any of our current content or want to stay in contact with us next school year, make sure to follow us with our content on the YouTube channel. Find us at UWS-Promethean. Find us on Facebook and Instagram at UWS Promethean. Our website if you just Google UWS Promethean, you should be able to find us. Our print edition anywhere on campus. Our new podcast, which we have just recently launched on Spotify. We are so excited to be there. And if you have any questions, like always, feel free to email us at promethean@uwsuper.edu.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the final Promethean podcast of the 2025-2026 school year. I'm your co-host, Georgia Youngblood.
I'm Abby Hoffman.
And I'm Emily Tews.